In a society full of blind men, the one-sighted man is called crazy. It's not worse. The Gnostic Society Library. We're gonna be reading the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas. Um, so, and this is the second time we're gonna be reading it. This is actually not the first time that the Gospel of Thomas has come up across my live. But it is the first time that we're gonna be reading past the fucking 25th verse, right? It's four no, it's like 114 sayings, it's 114 verses, and somehow I've only been able to get through 25 within a 2-hour time frame. I'm just not locked in. That's okay. And so, in order to help us to remain locked the hell in, today I have acquired. I'm thinking of going live on TikTok too. I totally could. I just gotta change the text on this one real quick. I'm just gonna copy this. Explaining the Gospel of Thomas. Cool. Is there a way I can change the name of the stream on Epstein? Boom. Explaining the Gospel of Thomas and more live. Hello, hello, hello. Apply. Cool. Cold, 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 cold. I'm thinking I can make that smaller, maybe. Zoom in a little bit more on that. Where have you been all my life? All my life. Where have you been all my life? 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 I love that Just Dance, and that's kind of the only place where I'm getting that from. We say here, and I want to put my other text there as well. Wait, where's the other text? Oh, it's here. It's behind everything. Maybe let's shrink that down just a tad. I don't know if I'm gonna need that to be as big as it is. I'm yapping to keep the dead space from remaining super dead. Oh my god. Twitch.tv/AlphaOnDuel, because that's what I mainly get up to. It's Twitch.tv/AlphaOnDuel. Come check me out. Latest live metrics. Is it possible to live quality? Okay. Word hotkeys, save to format, advanced audio setting. I can't really stream latency, encoder, shifter, whatever. Live chat, loading windows, moderator, muted accounts, blocked accounts, nothing. Huh. Yeah, no. Oh, tools up here. Co-host, poll, gift vote, multi-guest, live goal, fan club. Never mind. Enhanced makeup, filters and more, sound effects, audio mixer, go live. Okay. Oh, let's go live. Only once after you hit go live can there be a live. Let me. I can't type more than that. Yeah, actually, that's low key perfect because it's only one character left. It's explaining the Gospel of Thomas. And now we're live. Wait. I don't actually need this to. Hold on. Let me end live real quick. I'm really not locked in. Audience control. Go live. Welcome to live. Creators must be 18 and older to go live. Viewers must be 18 and older to recharge and send gifts. But you don't have to be 18 and older to watch this live, because this live we will be discussing the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas and understanding the messages and the sayings hidden within. Monetization trip. Try and invite another co-creator to attract more live content. Maybe. Sure. Hello. Through shared invite. Hi, how are you? How are you guys? Welcome, Aquiline. Today we're discussing the Gospel of Thomas and trying to parse through whatever these mysteries, right? Because it says here in the first one, these are the secret sayings at which the living Jesus spoke, and he said, whoever discovers these interpretations of these sayings will not taste death, right? So that's like, oh, hi Vero. That's a pretty heavy claim to be making, right? And if you're gonna, if you hear that ever, you're gonna want to try and understand what the sayings are saying, right? Even if it's not true, right? Even if it's a corrupted version of Christianity or whatever, right? At least having the knowledge base to understand what it's actually trying to say will help you to become a better, more well-rounded kind of I don't want to say intellectual. What I'm thinking kind of like someone who's just like good at thinking, critical thinker. You got to be a critical thinker, right? Jesus said, love your friends like your own soul. Protect them like the pupil of your eye. Explained this last time, right? This is verse 25 is the one. Verse 25 is the one I'm looking at, right? Because I've already read most of it. I'm not gonna hold you. So I think I'm just gonna continue to read the things that I have not. So this is basically literally a part 2, right? So Jesus said, you will see the silver in your friend's eye, but you don't see the timber in your own eye. When you take the timber out of your own eye, then you will see well enough to remove the sliver from your friend's eye, right? This is the that's another saying that was spoken in the Bible. One secret that we do have to locking in is, instead of listening to this tranquility music, we could hop on some of Brahms' Tragic Overture. This is a biblical saying over here, right? That we have. See the sliver in your friend's eye, but you don't see the plank in your own eye, the timber, right? You have a complete lack of vision due to the barrier between yourself and the other person's mode of perception, right? You are creating a mode of perception that is purposefully dense, right? And you got to take that out intentionally. Otherwise, what you're doing is really trying to shove in your own plank into another person's eye, really. It doesn't even just extend into being able to say that you're not necessarily seeing correctly. You've got something stuck in your face that you just, like, it's so obvious. It's so blatant. It's so right in your head. You don't necessarily know what that is. It's the lack of awareness about awareness. It's our lack of meta-awareness. We require meta-awareness as a species to be able to understand ourselves and to be able to walk through life. We tend to have this barrier, right? This barrier, this plank in our own eye, this timber in our own eye, right? What happens when you remove that plank, right? What happens when you remove that plank? When you start to see things without this barrier of lack of self-sense, right? Lack of self-perception. There's a clarity, right? Duh. but there's an ease of movement that comes along with understanding what you are and who you are and where you've come from within terms of your perception of self, right? Um, Shared invite. Let's move on. If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the Father's kingdom. If you observe the Sabbath, as a Sabbath, you will not see the Father, right? If you observe it as a holy day and sit and rest without reflecting upon it, right? If you observe the Sabbath as a day to kind of just chill and not necessarily understand the self, right? While lacking in that ability to say, hey, none of this is necessarily real. I'm gonna focus on what I know to be real, which is the this awareness that I'm experiencing, and I'm going to explore that, right? With in solitude, in this is like monasticism. Hello, Mike Hawk, PhD. Nice name, I guess. If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the Father's kingdom. What does it mean to fast from the world? Mike Hawk, tell me what that means. I know your name. Tell me what that means. What it means to fast from the world is to recognize that these things are not necessary, right? Fasting is a practice in which you recognize that there are higher nurturements, there are higher nutricities to be acquired than eating, right? That's just like the general idea of fasting, is to forget about this material body in order to understand yourself spiritually, is the way that people generally prescribe that, right? And so what the Gnostics mean by fasting from the world is to be able to do that, but for the concept of navigating reality. Is that, but for the concept of understanding this entire cosmos. If we say that this material realm is all that is, and I need it to be able to survive, right? And you can't sit alone and meditate. You can't sit alone and sit in a cave and go crazy a little bit and understand all the patterns of the mind, all the patterns of mental awareness, and understand the ways that which you can move through that. And the fact that awareness stays the same throughout it all, if you don't understand that awareness stays the same throughout the entirety of that process in which you are fasting, or if you are not fasting from the world and you're saying that I'm going to engage with this world, right? There's a lack of visual acuity, there's a lack of awareness that you have in that. And you find the Father's kingdom in that recognition. You find the Father's kingdom in that awareness, in that thing that is left behind when you fast from everything. Because the world doesn't even necessarily just mean this material world. It can also mean the spiritual world as well. Hello, Erica. Hello, Shake. Hi, how are you, friends? Jesus said, verse 28 of, this is the Gospel of Thomas, right? I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them. I found them all drunk, and I didn't find any of them thirsty. My soul ached for the children of humanity because they're blind, and their hearts don't see. For they came into the world empty, and they seek to depart from the world. What is the reason that... Can we understand that? Can we understand the reason as to which a single point of awareness understands the world and goes through it with a clarity that is opposed to, like, say, drunkenness, right? Goes through it with a sober kind of mind state. Hello, Schnuff Kingwell, right? Jesus is saying none of us are going through it with a sober mind state, right? That we're seeing through an illusion. We're seeing through a vision that isn't necessarily real. This pattern of awareness that we have is not the default pattern of awareness. We are all drunk, right? And we're not thirsty. As in, we continue to subsume ourselves on this idea, on this concept that we perceive all that there is. That we're like, we don't hunger for much more. We don't see that there is more to be gained in viewing not just awareness as a Hello, Millie So Cutie. The main point entirety of the entire Gospel of Thomas is to remain aware of your awareness, to remain meta aware, to continue to recognize your own drunkardness in terms that you when you shake off your wine, when you shake off this lack of clarity as to how this world works, what this world is, how to navigate it, right? Only then when you be able to change your ways. Only once you see what the world is for what it is. And when you see what the world is for what it is, what will happen, right? Jesus said, those who will seek should not stop seeking until they find. And when they find, they will be disturbed. And when they are disturbed, they will marvel and reign over all. And then after they've reigned over all, hello, Hubie. After they've reigned over all, they will rest. Okay, so what's this dark secret? What's this big thing that you need to be aware of? What's this sober mind state that you're trying to be aware of to break free from this drunkardness that Jesus warns about? Right? It's awareness. That's simply it. The reality that which we exist in is only exists as awareness. It's just the brute fact that you are aware, just the brute fact that you are conscious is the ultimate reality that we're fighting for. Not, oh, I recognize these things. Not, hello, Brady. Not, oh, I see these things, right? But, oh, I see these things for what they are, which is a reflection of me. Appreciate, yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get rid of the green screen so it can like actually show. I actually don't care that much. Appreciate it. Was that the same account you were on earlier, Brady? Or like a different account? Was that the same person, or is it just? Yeah. Okay. Bet. If you don't fast from the world, you will not find the Father's kingdom. You have to reflect upon just that awareness, right? Plug into yourself. Plug into your own awareness, WW, and you will recognize that which has been in front of you this entire time. What you don't see, what you see from, is the thing that Jesus is saying ties all of this together. Only once you can see that, can you be able to change your ways. The reality is, the God of the that we worship, right? This thing that is all knowing, right? All powerful, holds all in itself, right? Contains itself, holds all of us. Is it all we are is an image of it, right? The only thing that can fit that entire description of God is awareness itself. The idea, the brute fact that you are aware, that you are experiencing the world at all, that is God. The brute fact that you are conscious is God, right? That is the thing that allows for reality to continue to exist. That is the thing that allows for all of any of these things to make sense, right? That's the brute secret, and that awareness is the only thing that exists. Then when you realize that, you won't taste death. Nothing else of this is real. It's a reflection of that. If the flesh came into being because of spirit, that's a marvel, right? But if spirit came into being because of body, that's a marvel. How in the hell is consciousness, this awareness, this brute fact that I am here, that I am being itself, how does that come out of non-living, non-real ideas? Non-aware ideas can create awareness. It has to be able to plug into itself, and a rock isn't able to do that. Chemistry isn't able to do that. Yet I marvel at how such great wealth has come to dwell in this poverty. We live in poverty. We live in a world of drunken people. We live in a world of people who don't necessarily recognize that fact. Once you are able to recognize that fact, not only will you change your ways, the entire world can change. All of reality can align itself with that, in that we all understand that we are all children of the living Father. We all recognize that we all share in that awareness, and the thing that makes life valuable is the fact that I am that, is the fact that what I call myself is that. That's the radical empathy. That's the radical love, because there is no separation between the two. My awareness is that awareness at some point, right? Because it is all tied together via God, via not a separate entity, an intimate entity that is all, that flows through all, that not only separates us through its own lack of being aware of itself, but then unifies us in its willingness to let us be aware of each other. The body itself, even the words that are coming out of my mouth, even the thoughts that are happening in my brain are coming and going and flowing, right? This is chemistry in action. What is happening, what you are watching, what you are experiencing is chemistry in action, along with digitalization, along with like fucking electrons moving back and forth, sending signals in whatever ways to be able to share this like imagery of me moving. And this imagery of me moving is again just that, right? The awareness that is aware behind even this is real. My words aren't. The words that are coming out of my mouth are just as real as a passing thought, especially in the grand scheme of awareness. I took my stand in the midst of the world, and in flesh I appeared to them. It's a reflection. We see, who is Jesus? Jesus is the Word, right? Jesus is language, is the unification of things via ideas, and the more complex you can create an idea, the more points at which you can unify them. And Jesus, the Word, language itself, communication in that concept came into the world, right? In flesh, and spoke to us, right? And told us, instead of being a method just to unify, became unity itself, recognized its communion with the Father, recognized its unity with the Father, in that we are able to recognize our unity with the Father. We are able to recognize that all of us, this divine spark that is behind all of it, has been the only thing that allowed any of this to exist in the first place. If a blind person leads a blind person, they will both fall into a hole. We have to recognize, or we will cause ecological collapse. If we don't recognize that I am that I am even that mountain, right? In the ways that it is aware, in the ways that it is able to react to the ways that it is able to interact with the world around it, right? Maybe it doesn't necessarily have a distinct sense of I am just the mountain. Maybe it has a sense of like I am the earth and I am expressing myself as mountain in this waveform, as in like the ocean. The ocean moves in waves, but when were the waves ever not ocean, right? In that recognition that the mountain has, it connects with other people, right? In that we aren't able to necessarily do that. We refuse the ability to do that because we refuse to understand ourselves as unified beings along this reality, along this awareness pattern. We are waves in the ocean of awareness, right? And so we drill, baby, drill. The mountain isn't part of that. The mountain isn't me. I don't feel mountain. So, I can go drill the hell out of that if I want. Right? I am going to go take out all of the natural resources, not replenish, not create a cycle of mutual independence, mutual interdependence with the world, as my body has with itself, and create that self-referential loop. I'm going to create a loop and take. I'm going to take, and take, and take, and take, and take, because I believe there can be infinite growth from finite resources. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's not real. It's capitalism. Capitalism is the ego of the modern day, of the human race as we exist today. This sense of self that we have as the human self is capitalist. And that's unfortunate, and it's true. That's the reality we live in. It's okay. It's okay to not be real. It's okay to not have a good sense of self. It's okay to understand that all of these ideas are just that, ideas, man-made inventions, man-made systems as to how to be able to reckon with the fact that we exist in a seemingly undifferent universe, right? And we can recognize that. But what we have to do on top of that is move. There's nothing else we really can do. And we have to move in tandem with each other. It's okay to have an ego. You just gotta not let it take control of you. You just gotta not let it not hold on. And I'm not talking to you as in the person. I'm talking to you as in the awareness. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to this recognition, recognition itself. I'm talking to recognition. When you see that you are, you'll forget all about the body. You don't need to care about the body. The body is an experience that happens through you. Flow states is a thing that continues to become a meme or whatever, but it's the real reality of animals mainly, right? It's this idea that things come easily. It's this idea that I can do and things will naturally flow along with me as I go almost perfectly naturally with the movement that needs to happen for my goals and for the goals of the things around me to continue to work in tandem, right? That's flow state, right? Christ consciousness is flow state with awareness on top of that. You need to remain aware on top of the reality that you are living your life as it continues to live. This is Wu Wei. Action through inaction. Flow states, right? Flow state with awareness creates intention. Intention lets go for action to happen via inaction. Jesus said, where there are three deities, they are divine. Where there are two or one, I am with that one. Where there are three deities, where there are three gods, three awarenesses, three sections of awareness that are looser, that don't necessarily have a barrier in the same way that humans have. Is such a strict barrier, right? To where they can converse in ideas, where they can converse in thoughts and complexes, right? And create worlds from their entire imagination, because this mental reality that which they exist under is it's a communication, this instant telepathy. If I had perfect instant telepathy with you and I could understand your entire mental stratosphere, the only way that which we would communicate is via ideas. The only way that which we would communicate isn't via abstract ideas, it's via real concrete representations of these ideas, right? That's how we have language. That's what we do to write things down, right? But as gods, if you're able to telepathically share these ideas, what does that mean? What does that feel like? What is that experience? It's to exist in a shared world of imagination. You experience ideas through imagination, and you experience the shared ideas through this imagination. You have a sandpit in which you can do whatever the hell you want. You are God. You are deities. Where there are multiple and they commune, they are divine. When there is one, that is flat awareness. That's a self, right? Where there are two or one, I am with that one. Whose I am? It's self-referential. It connects. Where they are divine, there's a conflict of ideas. Where there are two or one, there is a unification of ideas. Jesus said, no prophet is welcome on his home turf. Doctors don't know cures. Doctors don't cure those who know them. It's a conflict of interest. It's a conflict of ideas. It's a conflict of communication. It's a warning, generally. Once
Creativity
you
is not
see,
something I wait for. I am Antoni Sendra, a filmmaker. I'm always hunting and
this is Hellebride's Overture by Felix Mendelssohn. No prophet is welcome on his home turf. Jesus experienced this. People who knew him doubted him. His brother doubted him until he died, right? James, his brother James, the one who the book is named after, didn't believe he would make it until after his death. Didn't believe in the reality that Jesus was speaking about until he had already passed. No one who sees the reality will be able to explain to others who have lacked in their sight for so long, will be able to show unto others who have been so blind, right? Because they refuse to see it. In a society full of blind men, the one-sighted man is called crazy. He's not worshipped. He's not seen as a god or a visionary. He's called crazy. A city built on a high hill and fortified cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. A city built on a high hill has high defenses, right? And is fortified, right? As in, not only has high defenses, not only has this steep hill for anyone who wants to enter to climb, now has a wall of thing like a membrane to say, hey, we are this, and we wish to continue to be this. Don't stop that. But if you want to continue and help us, you may, right? Because they can't refuse to see it. You can't hide something that's on a hill. You can't hide something with maximum fortitude, right? A vast city on a hill is a beacon, is a light to all. Remains to be fortified, and it won't fall. This city is the world we built. This is how we unify heaven and earth. We take the existing structures we have, right? That would constitute a heaven. We take mutual aid. We take reassociation. We take tenets of agapic love. We take tenets of this gift economy. We create resource libraries, right? We create a network of mutual aid. Maybe it's just a couple villages holding each other up, right? Eventually it expands, right? These villages produce something to pick up where the others lack. And as they do, they hold on to each other, right? No one has to worry about where they're going to get food or get money. Like Jesus said, why do you worry when the sparrow has no fear as to where it's going to get its food? Hello, unselected 3. The sparrow has no fear. So why should we? In this network of communities, these networks of people who are feeding each other, I've got your back and you've got mine, allows for there to be a reality of mutual aid that creates a world at which we can see, a world at which we can view, a world at which we can say, wow, that's beautiful. Wow, that's amazing, even if it's tiny. And we have to create a barrier to say, hey, if you don't want this, if you don't want to come in, that's okay. Don't topple us. You can communicate with us. We can work together, right? But you won't be a part of us if you wish to harm us. You would sell to people outside of the community, trade within the community, and as it grows in mutual aid, right? as a lot of these would continue to be businesses as well, not just villages, um, mutually, like democratic businesses and things, right? As you continue and you build said network, they would get more resources and more people would want to join because there would be greater abundance. The light would burn brighter. The fortress is stronger. The hill is higher. The doors are open to those with open hearts. And Jesus said, "What you will hear in your ear, in the other, proclaim from your rooftops." Mm. After all, no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, nor does one put it in a hidden place. Rather, one puts it on a lampstand, so that all who come and go will see its light. This is a reflection. This city built on the hill, right? Um, is a recursion, is a fractal, it's a pattern on top of what you are to be. What you are to be is the village. What you are to be as this ego self is to be within alignment, is to be within fortress, and is to be mutually giving and loving and freely giving, while also understanding who it is who will take and take and take without giving. Free association within the self and extra self, outside of the self. And you can't hoard it. This love that you have will become surplus, will become greater than you can handle, will become more than you can express. And if you can't find anyone to give it to, you'll be lonely. Proclaim from the rooftops. No one lights a lamp to see so that they don't see, so that they're hidden under a basket, nor does one put it in a hidden place. Rather, than one puts it on a lampstand so that all so that all see this reality, this beautiful world that is yet to come, will see it in your light. For one cannot enter a strong person's house and take it by force without trying his hands. Once you tie their hands, then you can take the loot. Don't let your hands be tied. Recognize that your hands are free to do whatever. That your agency is greater than your fingers and materials, right? That your awareness constitutes a reality so much more vast, so much more true, so much more real and distinct and honest and beautiful than just this physical self. You can't be looted if there's nothing to loot. In that all you have is awareness. In that all that is you. And that's beautiful. And there's so much to be built on top of that. That's all you've ever needed. That's all you are, and it's okay to just be that. It's okay to just be that. Your hands cannot be tied. But when you find a pattern that works for you, when you find a pattern of awareness, a pattern of selfhood that gives this love, this light unto others, that has that surplus peace and value to give unto others, remain strong. Remain strong. Recognize this cannot be you. And so is it someone else? Let's say you are to enter a strong person's house and to take it by force. Let's say you are to find that we have maybe a spiritual enemy. I don't want to say an individual, perhaps a system. In the individuals, as in the chemistry that we exist as, only has the agency of extending out to the hands. And a little bit further than that, anything further than that is the agency of the collective peoples who have built the tools that you are using and the resources that you are using, right? Um, but if we take these systems and these resources that can be this strong person and take it by force, you have to then tie their hands. You have to then take away their agency. Hello, sweet Southern Belle. This is how Jesus says to fight your spiritual enemies, these spiritual systems that come and take away your agency. Where are their hands? One cannot enter a strong person's house and take it by force without tying his hands. What hands do they have? It's ours. We are the hands that which these systems use to oppress us. Tie the hands or free the hands. These hands can be replaced. These hands can be switched. These hands can be moved. We have to create parallel systems of structure, parallel systems of power in order to allow ourselves to be open to allowing there to be greater things, for allowing there to be this universal Christ consciousness that will save us practically, that will allow us to recognize that there was nothing to save, to allow us to recognize that we were all playing a game, and it's a beautiful game, and it's a fun game, and we're gonna laugh it off all at the end, even though it hurts now, even though it sucks now, even though there's pain and suffering. You don't have to do it all alone, in that we are all here, and that it doesn't stay. It doesn't stay. Just like everything else, it comes and goes. It's a wave. The only thing that which you are and that which you need, that which you have, is the brute fact that you are here, that you are aware, and that will continue to be. Awareness continues to be forever and always. That is what God is. That is the thing that holds your life together. That is the thing that holds the whole world in its hands, every world that there could be. That is the unification of heaven and earth, the awareness, the meta-awareness that we continue to have. Yeah. That we should have, that we need to recognize. The fact that awareness is not a thing that is separate for individuals, that it's a universal thing, that's a thing that is greater than the sum of its parts somehow. I said, okay. One can enter a strong person's house. Jesus said, do not fret. From morning to evening, from evening to morning, about your food, or what you eat, or your clothing, or what you're going to wear. You're much better than the lilies with neither care nor spin. For as you, when you have no garments, what will you put on? What might you add to your stature? Hold on. That everyone will give you your garment? This is what I was talking about earlier. There is a simple fear. There is an anxiety about humans that the things that we require are impossible to achieve. The things that which we need in order to live are somehow kept out of reach from us, are somehow there are forces and realities that which we can't affect, that decide whether or not we're going to eat tomorrow. And we gotta worry, and we gotta pray, and we gotta hope that we can be able to eat tomorrow, which is disgusting. Both in the fact that shouldn't exist, in the fact that maybe we can provide for people at the point of the community. We can provide for people at the point of the household. That we can provide for people at the point of the society, that which they don't have to worry about what they're going to eat tomorrow. As opposed to letting every single individual decide for themselves how they are going to fend for the world, as if each individual can gain the necessary spiritual capital to affect the world and able to get their food, right? or the physical capital to be able to buy enough food to not worry about any of these things. Hello, Steph. There is that aspect of it in that we should restructure society so that we don't fret from morning to evening about your food or what you're going to eat or your clothing, in that we can give people the things that which they require in order to live in society, and then we say, as a result of you living in society, then we can give you the things that which you require. um and then you can help out to perpetuate the society by doing the work. But there's another aspect to it. Thank you, Steph. The other aspect is the recognition that what we experience today, right? This reality that which we experience is an illusion. It's not real. It's made up. It's Maya. It's the demiurge. It's fake. And that's okay. It's okay. We live in a world that isn't as real as the realest thing. And that's totally okay. Because the realest thing is just one thing, that's awareness, that's being, that is consciousness, that is that reality, right? The brute fact that that exists is the ultimate reality. If you want to live in this world, anxiety is attached to this world. Why should we not continue to be anxious in that in this world we may not be able to get food, right? In that this world is affected by that. This world is much, much more affected by these ideas, by these systems, by these non-physical machines than we give them credit. That which we can change those non-physical machines, the archetypes that which we exist under. These things are much more malleable. Why do you worry? Why do you worry? It will be provided for you in that you will accomplish the things that you wish to accomplish simply because that's the story you wish to tell. Simply because that's the story that awareness wishes to tell. His disciples said, "When will you appear to us? And when will we see you?" Jesus said, "When you strip without being ashamed, and you take your clothes and put them under your feet like little children and trample them, then you will see that you are the Son of the Living One and you will not be afraid. When will you appear to us and we will see you?" The disciples had this understanding that there was a world that Jesus was in, that which was not the material world, that he was too holy to be appearance in here, right? Is like, the world that which I am in, the world that which I am in is much, much greater than the world that which you are in. And he's like, where are you? Where are you? It's like, don't you recognize? It's the same one ultimate. That's what I've been here to tell you. Is that world and this world are not apart, and I've come to unify them. And I've come to allow you to recognize that unity. And once you can recognize that, once you recognize that you as a person have nothing to be ashamed of, you will strip and you will not be ashamed. You will take your clothes and put them under your feet like little children.
I am Antoni Sendra, a filmmaker.
Your children, your clothes.
I'm always hunting.
This is Beethoven's Egmounts overture. Clothing also is the representation of this idea of the ego, of the sense of self, of the reality that which we clothe ourselves with and understand ourselves with, and we lay ourselves here and say, this is what I am. I am the things that I wear. I am the things that I remember. I am the things that I hold on to. I am the things that continued to remain in my awareness. But are you? Are those the things of which you are? Because those things fleet. Those things are fleeting. The material body, your memories are fleeting. Your history is fleeting. You can lose it all. There would be nothing to go back to. Who are you then? That question doesn't even make sense. Who are you? What does that mean, who am I? Well, I have no answer to that question, but I am here. I am. Remember that. No matter who you are, I am. You are. No matter who you are, you are. And that is who you are. You will see the living one, and you will not be afraid. Often, you've desired to hear these things that I'm speaking to you, and you have no one else from whom to hear them. There will be days when you seek me, and you will not find me. Don't let these things be things that you hear and things that you think when you hear, and not things that you remain aware of. As you remain aware of your awareness, as you continue to feed into that, you won't need Jesus. As he says here in which verse is it? One of the verses, he says, I am not your teacher, for you have drank from the cup that I have prepared for you. To Thomas, and Jesus said, the Pharisees and the scholars have taken the keys of knowledge and have hidden them. They have not entered, nor have they allowed those who want to enter to do so. As for you, be as sly as snake and as simple as doves. There is spirituality being guarded. There is reality that is yet to be seen, even from the sights of these spiritual leaders, of these practitioners, of these people who hold the keys to God. Only in then can you be the thief of the night. You are the thief of the night that has come to take from them what they have hidden from the world and to share it into the world. You are the Robin Hood of this awareness. To be as sly as a snake, to feed unto the world the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And as simple as doves, to again feed them the food of the tree of life. The grapevine has been planted apart from the Father since it's not strong. It will be pulled up by its root and will perish. Whatever awareness, whatever experience that does not contain its awareness, that does not recognize its own awareness, will cease to be recognized. The waves can hold on, the waves can continue, in that we can continue to be material, and we can experience this world and experience the mental, not over top of it, maybe interlaced, maybe both as one, the spiritual and the physical in the unified heaven and earth and things. And past that, will you not perish? In that will you not perish. In that awareness will you recognize yourself to be greater than that which you were. This pattern of selfhood, this pattern of awareness continues to be aware until it's no longer necessary, in which you won't experience death. You will never taste death. But the grapevines planted away from awareness, since they are not strong, will not remain. They will not be aware. They will not be known. They will not be seen. They will not be experienced by awareness. They will be departed from. Whoever has something in the hand will be given more, and whoever has nothing will be deprived of even the little that they have. Awareness. Awareness. Remember again and again that word. That word is the word that holds these things together. If you have even that small awareness, even that small meta recognition that these things are, you will be given more and more and more and more until you have so much that you cannot bear. And whoever has nothing will be deprived of even the little that they have, and that they don't recognize, in that they are not aware, in that these waves will return to the ocean, and that's okay. And that's okay. That's okay. These patterns don't have to continue to exist. The suffering that exists will no longer be unleashed, will no longer be experienced. Hello, Mr. Alexander. Oh, goodbye. Verse 42. Jesus said, be passerbys. Not to materiality, not to this experiential reality, not to experience, not to life, but be but passerbys to that which is a wave, to that which will return to the ocean. Understand that this will not continue. Understand that there is a flow state to be engaged with when it comes to awareness generally and life generally. There is a flow state to be achieved. There is a unification of observation and experience and love and passion and death and crying and emotion and beauty that will be experienced. But you can't cling on. If you cling on, you'll forget that you'll assume that you are that. You are none of these things. You are that which is aware. Remember that. That's the only thing that which you can be aware. 43. The disciples said to him, who are you to say these things to us? You don't understand who I am from what I say to you? Rather, you've become like the Judeans, for they love the tree but hate its fruit. Or they love the fruit but hate the tree. This is the world that which we live in. These are the Christians. They love the tree but hate its fruit. These are basically the rest of the world. Love the fruit but hate the tree. The tree is that which we are aware, is awareness itself. The fruit is mutual aid, is goodness, is these sort of, I don't want to say left-wing approaches to reality. But at the end of the day, yeah, these anarchist, communist principles that which the world has to offer, the reflections of the higher, greater, unifying principles of reality, and even capitalism was at the time that it which was created, but now it has overstayed its purpose. It is Chronos, and we are Zeus, or perhaps we are Zeus. It is Zeus, which has toppled Chronos, and we are a son yet to come, fulfill even that prophecy to topple Zeus. Hello, Elaine. Bye. Jesus said, whoever blasphemes against the Father will be forgiven. Against awareness will be forgiven. Whoever blasphemes against the Son will be forgiven. Against materiality will be forgiven. Whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit, the unity, the idea that there can be a unification between the two, that there is a conversation of heaven and earth, will not be forgiven, neither on earth nor in heaven. Jesus said, grapes are not harvested from thorn trees, nor are figs from thistles, nor yield no fruit. For they yield no. Good persons produce good for what they have stored up. A bad person produces evil from the wickedness they've stored up in their hearts and say evil things. From the overflow of the heart, they produce evil. These are the things that which you create. These are the things that which you produce as a wave, as an experience, as an ego. The things that which you produce, the things that which you experience, the things that which you recreate are the things that which you have, are the things that which you have experienced, right? A person who has experienced bad, a person who is within bad soil, right, within bad material conditions, is wholly unable to be able to produce good fruit. And in that, they will produce bad fruit and they will say bad things and they have stored up wickedness in their hearts. In that, the situation perpetuates itself. This does not have to be the case. We can create a world in which there are no longer people within, there are no longer seeds. There is no longer bad soil for these seeds to grow into. And from the overflow of all of our, we can create good. And in from that overflow, we can fill into lack where others lack. Drag the puzzle piece into place. Dog. I am very much active and I am very much live. Jesus said, grapes are not harvested from thorn trees, nor are figs gathered from thistles, for they yield no fruit. Good persons produce good from what they've stored up. Bad persons produce evil from the wickedness they've stored up in their hearts and say evil things. For from the overflow of their heart they produce evil. Jesus said, from Adam to John the Baptist, among those born of women, no one is much greater than John the Baptist, that his eyes should not be averted. That is, but I have said that whoever among you becomes a child will recognize the Father's kingdom and will become greater than John. You have the potential to be greater than John, to be existent in this world and navigating in this world and to proclaim from the rooftops to more people than John would have ever connected with and been committed to, and to see things far greater than John would have been able to see, because we live in an environment filled with such rich, good soil of materials, soil of information, soil of ideas. In that we can see these things because we have greater context for them. In that this rationality has allowed us to be able to understand this experience that we have intentionally neglected. In that the information age has allowed us to be able to become greater than John, has allowed us to be able to be children who recognize the Father. And in that you will do much, much more than John. You will see more than John, you will do more than John. Because John had his experience capped. You don't. Your awareness is much, much more open, is much, much more in a better position to create that if you allow it to be. From Adam to John the Baptist, among these born of women, no such is greater than John the Baptist, that his eyes should be averted. What makes this man so great? In that he is meta-aware, in that he flows with the Tao, in that he can see the things the which most refuse to even recognize. Jesus said, a person cannot mount 2 horses or bend 2 bows. A slave cannot serve 2 masters. Otherwise, the slave will honor one and offend the other. Nobody drinks aged wine and immediately wants to drink young wine. Young wine is not poured into old wineskins so that they might not break. The aged wine is not poured into new wineskins so it might not spoil. An old patch is not sewn into new garments, since it would tear. This old world, will die as we know it. And you cannot no matter what, try and reform it. You can't attach a piece, here, and attach a piece there, and attach a piece here of good, and expect it to fill itself. It would create a tear. However, whence you recognize that these new skins can come together. Hello, Kiki Andrew, that these new wineskins, that these new garments, that these new patches can come together to create a brand new garment unto itself. In that they don't spoil, in that it won't tear, in that we can create a better, newer world that is more free and more inviting to the realities that which we know to be true, and recognizing the realities that we know to be true. Only then, when we see that we can create parallel structures of awareness, of these aware peoples, of these aware consciousnesses connecting with each other and reflecting on each other in ways greater than we could ever imagine. Only then can we see the kingdom of heaven brought to earth. Only then can they merge. Jesus said, if two make peace with one another in a single house, they will say, mountain, move from here, and it will move. This is Semetas Vita, Valida, from the Maldu, from Mavalost, my homeland. Bedrick Smetana. Sab. I don't know classical music like that. This is the unification, the archetype of unity, right? There seems to be a separation that which we have lost, a separation that which we cannot seem to find, in that we see that our awarenesses have less power than they actually do. And if we can recognize that, and get together and unify, like I said, with other awareness, with other Christ conscious awarenesses, two that make peace with each other in a single house, that come together in a dance of awareness, in a unity of awareness, they will say, mountain, move from here, and it will move. Beautiful, great, gracious things that seem inevitable, will become completely mundane. Conflicts that we thought could have never been over, the reality that we thought would have continued to be violent and destructive and dead and death-ridden, can finally be overcome. A world free from sickness, free from disease. A world free from security, from insecurity, from risk, from death, from hardship, from pain. A world in which we are free to love. Then can you say, move from here? Whence the two make peace with each other in a single house. And congratulations to those who are alone and chosen, for you will find the kingdom. For you have come from it, and you will return there again. It's all of you. Because there's only one. And Jesus said, if they say unto you, where have you come from? What will we tell them? We will tell them, we have come from the light, from the place where light came into being itself, established itself, appeared in their image. And if they say unto you, is it you? We say, we are its children, and we are the chosen of the living Father. If they ask you, what is the evidence of your Father within you? It is in motion and rest. People are going to see that you move through the world in a very, very different light. They will tell you, who are you? Where are you from? And that will be seen, and that will be experienced. Be honest. Be truthful in that what you are is this pure awareness, and you are a reflection of that pure awareness brought into being again. You are the children of that living awareness, of that living Father. That is these egos that which we are. We are its children, chosen from among the world into bring the rest of the world in and back into itself. And the same process occurred within yourself, and the same process will continue to occur within our collective self. For you have come from the light, the place in which light came into being itself, what some might call the pleroma, and established itself, self-referentially created itself, and appeared there in their image. In the image of that. I am that. If they ask you, what is the evidence that your Father is within you? It is in the motion that which we experience. It is in the contrast of ideas, this contrast of motion and rest, this ultimate dichotomy, this Piscean reality that what we experience is multiplicity, singularity. What we experience is stillness and motion, the dynamism of reality. The fact, either the brute fact of a motionless real world or the brute fact of motion itself. The fact that we can be aware in this motion and rest. His disciples said unto him, will the rest for the dead take place? And when the new world come? I was unable to recognize exactly what I was saying, but I think that's because I had that mental block and that I don't want to read past that for today. I think that's a good place to end that for this section of the Gospel of Thomas. This has been part 2. I'm probably going to make this a 4-part series in which I can recognize and explain and try to use this flow state that I was speaking of to be able to express in visual poetry and in not in visual poetry, but in verbal poetry, what this means from my experience and from many other experience. Thank you for watching. I will catch you all in the next one. Check out my link tree, TSO Peak. Yeah, bye. So that's that part. Hey, hi. You actually just missed it. I was just finished reading the Gospel of Thomas, or like the second part of it. I'm gonna post it all on my YouTube. How's your day going? I'm doing good. How are you? What is up, Leslie?